All right, we are live. All right, we've already got some viewers on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Groomers Cut. You guys know us as the Pet Pro Educators, Dara Forleo, Michelle Knowles, and Jennifer Jenkins. Sorry, Jennifer Bishop Jenkins. We love saying that.
But either way, today's my 18-year wedding anniversary. So
Yes.
Jennifer Jenkins is where my heart is today.
All right. So tonight we have Teri DiMarino, who is graciously joining us for this evening. And we're here today to talk about, we've learned a lot. We've done a lot of updates. Our list is coming back in. And for all of you new viewers, for all of you future watchers, please grant yourself permission on our Facebook link. That way we can see your names as you're commenting. We just get Facebook user. We'd love to see your names. We want to see that. For everybody who joined the three of us this past weekend at the All-American, thank you guys so much. What a phenomenal show that was. We had a lot of fun. Huge classes. I was thrilled with my class size. It was wonderful. 2 actually. So thanks to everyone who joined us, and I will stop talking now and let Michelle talk.
All right. So I'm masked up because I'm at the airport picking up a colleague. So you won't be able to see my face and my loud laugh and my gap.
You sound good though, Michelle. You sound good.
All right, good. I'm glad you can hear me. So basically, the rundown is we have nominated from all of our base. So we've nominated the people who we feel that would represent our views the best. And we are forming a council so that we can absolutely open up a dialogue between groomers, by groomers, and form some standards of care for this industry. So that's basically what the discussion is. We're getting many people that are so interested in it, more than not. The percentage of people who are against what we're doing is like literally 7 people, and all the rest are happy to oblige. So there is huge buy-in for this. So many people understand the need for standards, want standards, but don't know how to go about getting that. And I do have an interesting proposal that will involve as many people as possible, as many voices in the industry as possible, and we can get some things done interim until we have more information.
So I just want to say really quick so that Teri knows, this is standards of care, that it goes and builds upon what the ppgsa standards have set. Those standards are our foundation. Then this goes into more of the scientific facts of more. Go ahead, Michelle. I'll let you go from there now.
Controversial issues, anal glands, ears, shaving coats, things that require, where there's been some industry disagreement, where there needs to be a group of a diverse and committed people to ferret out factual information, to get out a policy that will be helpful to people to answer questions that have been difficult to answer.
Mm-hmm. And we plan on publishing it in a volume that is available, and it will be updated as necessary.
Right.
So that's, I know she's, okay, now what?
Michelle, you're doing a great job walking through an airport and being on a live stream nationally, Michelle. That's great.
Just because I've been here so often.
Yes.
So, Teri, please give us your thoughts on this.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Teri, your thoughts.
Your thoughts on that.
Thoughts on that? Well, I mean, are we assuming that everyone knows what the ppgsa standards of care, safety, and sanitation are?
Yes, we have discussed those in our previous
But Teri, nobody better than you to tell us once again to review that.
Okay, well, it was kind of ground zero for the whole thing, and it was actually instigated by people working together. When 969, that bad legislation, hit out in California, that got the attention of AKC, got the attention of PJAC, got everyone's attention. PJAC, who was the Pet Industry Joint Advisory Council, did not even have groomers on the radar. And when we went for help, they said, whoa, we don't support groomers, we support pet shops. It woke them up to see that grooming is a renewable source
Huge part of the
renewable source of income. Let's look at dollars, and that's what these places look at, is the dollars. So the new president of PJAC at the time, Mike Bober, saw our work and said, okay, let's organize everybody. And for the first time in history, we were able to get all of the certification boards, all of the certification companies, and other interested, about 13, 14 of us, sit down in a room without totally killing each other and saying, yes, we need this. It took almost 2 years. And I'm talking about fine-tuning, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, saying, do we use shall or will, may or should, all the little stuff. And basically what the Standards of Care, Safety, and Sanitation by PJAC, by ppgsa, was drawn up as a legislative tool, okay? It is a tool for the salon, and we met with discord too. People are like, nobody's gonna tell me how to groom a dog. Believe me, we're not. I don't give a rat's whatever how you do eyebrows and top knots and scissoring. If you run a safe, clean, salon, you're good. We don't care. This is by no means style oriented, and I really don't think it is a wise thing for anybody to go there, with the exception of the certification boards. Okay, that's style. The ppgsa standards are a document that cannot be altered, so be aware of that. It cannot be altered. It has to stay intact. But I think a better term for what you're looking to call it is not standards of care. That's already written. That's in the can. You don't have to mess with that. Standard policies. This is policies, okay? Because whether you're going to talk about anal glands or ears, or dematting or anything like that, that's not necessarily care, but that's a policy. What is a standard policy within the industry to safely do anal glands, if we want to consider that at all? What is a policy, good policy, salon policy for ears? And the nice thing I like about the word policy, and I use this in my own salon when I had it, you can hide behind that word. Think about that. When I would say, as the owner of the salon, I would say to a customer, it is the salon policy not to demat this dog. And it's almost like you put up this veil of mystery in front of them, and there's no one that they can yell. If I stand there and say, I'm the owner of the shop, and I'm not going to do that, they can deal one-on-one with me. But if I say, this is the salon policy, they can't really, there's nothing for them to argue with. So I think putting it up under some kind of a word like that might be a better, more palatable. But the Standards of Care, Safety, and Sanitation, some people say they're a little vague. When you write for legislation, you have to give them enough, but not so much that they get bored. And we're pleased that these standards have actually been put into some of the legislative actions that are taking place now. Now, policy, I think, would be a good thing to keep out of a legislative piece. Right. Because this is more, it almost borders on style, but not quite. Okay, you get what I'm saying here. I think what you're trying to do is put in a missing link. All right, you're trying to get a missing link between safety and sanitation and style. Nobody wants to touch style because everybody's style is different, and that's what makes the world go round. But then the care, safety, and sanitation is a static document. This is going to be, from what I'm hearing from you, it's going to be more guidelines. Okay.
It's going to be a place where we can vet the science on controversial questions. That's so important. I just want to echo and ditto as a person who has, I think Teri, you and I, and maybe 2 or 3 others like Susan Scholler and people like that are probably the only groomers in the country who have also been pretty much like full-time professional lobbyist grade political activists in our field in state legislatures. I actually have worked in other fields related to my status as a murder victim's family member. I actually have worked full-time passing legislation, amending the Illinois Constitution, working the halls of my state legislature. I've done what Teri has done. And I can tell you this document, the Professional Pet Groomers and Stylists Alliance, ppgsa Standards of Safety, Care, and Sanitation, which I immediately adopted and implemented and is mandatory. I don't even interview people unless they've read it and sign on to it and tell them this is the mandatory policies of my shop.
Yeah,
but
let's not forget Judy Breton in this either. She is right there.
Judy Breton, yeah, absolutely, she was essential. And we absolutely, this is a very professional document that literally, if a bad piece of legislation comes up in any state in the nation now, we can hand them this. Thank you, Teri. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, all of the 13 people who spent 2 years of their life hammering out this framework that is written in legislator language and is designed to be handed to any state legislature or city council member or county board that might want to pass legislation pertaining to the regulation of your grooming shop. It's a fantastic tool. Thank you.
Yeah, it works. I mean, we're getting some questions now with the horrific hot weather that's out there now. I got a couple of emails last week saying my salon is so hot. They won't turn air conditioning on, or they don't have air conditioning. They won't get a portable air conditioner. It was 100 degrees today. And people will wonder, why are there no temperature regulations within the ppgsa standards? That's because that's where it's intentionally vague, because common sense kicks on in, and the ambient temperature of, say, a salon or exterior temperature is going to, there's way too many variables. So we kept it fairly simple, fairly straightforward, that it's got to be a humane, comfortable temperature. And that was what I would cite with these people. Now, if they really want to kick the hornet's nest, they could probably call OSHA and get something. Yeah, from OSHA. But I don't think we want to kick the hornet's nest if we don't have to.
OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. It's a federal agency that oversees workplace conditions in the United States.
But it's not federal. It is state run. Every state has its own.
Every state has their own OSHA.
Yes.
OSHA? Okay.
Because
every state has their own. Yep.
And states can actually make specific what standards they want in their state.
Which would make sense, because the standards are going to be different for New Mexico than they are going to be for Canada. Alaska. You've got different needs there. So that's good to know.
And Angie Coates says in our chat room there that she has seen posts of salons at 92 degrees. So wow, Teri, that's pretty horrible.
Oh yeah, I see. I just picked that up. Yeah, it's there's a lot of salons that they have inadequate air conditioning. I know here, just our salons on the coast, houses on the coast, they don't have air conditioning. They don't need it. They rarely get superheated. Okay, but now something like this, you can't open doors, you can't go opening windows. It's a hazard. So it's a safety hazard with the pets. So things do have to be done. They've got to be, And Angie's saying there's no maximum, there's no temperature maximum. Not listed because it's different. It's different here than it's going to be in Alaska, as I say, or Hawaii, or Florida for that matter. So it's a simple, comfortable temperature, but that's only one of the things that we touched on. There's so many other things that we worked on, and now you're looking to take this one step further. This is definitely a big veterinary thing, because what I have found, let's just take something as simple as ears. You got two schools of veterinary. You got the old school and the new school. The new school is saying, leave them alone. The old school is saying, get every hair out of there. Yeah. And common sense has to kick into place at one point or another.
Well, that's what Michelle has envisioned, a next generation for our industry, where we can actually vet the science and get factual information out to people about difficult things like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's twofold. I don't want to just make this council for policies or standards or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's twofold. We have a huge issue in our beautiful industry that I love each and every one of you. I really, really do. Whether you like it or not, you got my love. I want to teach them how to debate, how to read science, how to read peer-reviewed journals, how to understand the science so that they can make some kind of a decision on whether or not to pluck ears and under what circumstances, just as an example. So, I mean, it's much more fleshed out than what we can tell you in a half an hour, but I would really like, when the council does come together, the word policy would be able to be discussed and debated on the open floor as to what, is that what we're going to call it? Is this how we're going to approach it? So I do have a loose outline, but I would like the council and the subcommittees and everybody who has a vote, whoever is a groomer, can participate in this, because it's for groomers by groomers. I want to hear all the voices. There are people that just have a shave shop, and while I don't shave certain types of dogs, I see the value of what they do, and I want them to be able to get information to incorporate into their practice or their salon. So, I mean, there's really a lot of facets that need to be covered that aren't covered anywhere else. So that's my hope.
So you said you had an idea, Michelle, for you had a proposal or something specific to add tonight, something new. Did you say?
Yes. Dara and I had the opportunity to talk with Chris Berry with WPA, and they have something coming up on the horizon that is magnificent and beautiful and foundationally necessary. I can't talk a lot about it, but it is some type of a credentialed program that is a baseline that groomers would have to meet in order to groom. Now, of course, it's voluntary. I don't know all the details. It is not my program. So everybody calm down in the chat room.
They should be making some announcements soon. So
in January or later. Yes.
But it's going to be very exciting. Everybody should pay attention when Chris Berry comes out with this announcement. It's going to be very, very historic.
But having said that, we discussed our idea, or our policy making idea, the council, and her idea as well. And as we talked and fleshed each idea out, they complement each other so wonderfully.
I think so.
That I am so thrilled to be able to share my ideas with Chris, and the opportunity to share this with our national grooming association that we are forming. And it's going to be really exciting. So as we form this council, I think I would like to get some headway by January, even to have one thing on the floor to discuss. And Terry wasn't here for Beyond. We are using Oxford debate rules and also mediation rules as well that litigators use. So that is how we are going to teach our industry how to talk to one another, instead of yelling at each other. Why are you still using Dawn? Or whatever, pick something. It's time that we started loving each other through this and helping each other grow. You know, if we don't water each other, none of us will grow. So that's our intention, and that's where we're moving forward. I'm so happy that you are even here to listen to us talk about it. I think it's important that people that have been in the industry as long as you and otherwise have a chance to hear this and have a say. Because, and one of the stipulations that we're requiring also is that we would like you to be credentialed in some way, because that shows your commitment to your peerage and your commitment to your industry and your craft. People who aren't interested in having standards aren't really going to put forth the effort and the work to make this happen. So we want people that want to do the work, that really care about standards in the industry, and who care about being credentialed. So.
And thank you, Terry. Terry, you were atop of a voting list on the poll that was done, and it just is such a great tribute to you that you were. And thank you for saying yes to participating in this wonderful next step.
Yeah, it's a big undertaking. I think one of the key things you're going to have to aim for is going to be the schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's huge. We're just getting started out in California here to start getting a list of schools. We've got different styles of accreditation or registration, you know, it's or license. There's all these different criteria, these schools, but we just want them to get and say that we teach according to the ppgsa standards of care, safety, and sanitation. Okay, so this would be something to do is get the schools under the umbrella of this too. So because we're going to have a generation of groomers. One day we're going to be all gone, and they're going to be grooming our dogs, and they could be grooming them by our writings.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I want to preserve by inviting all of the, I guess, for lack of a better term, old timers. I consider myself an old timer, I suppose. I have a small fear of us all going, and then we don't leave our valuable knowledge behind. So I think this is a really good forum for everybody to share those wives' tales and see if there's any merit to them. See if there's any science. See what's going on. Why did it come about? Why did we start doing that in the first place? All those things the younger generations coming up have no knowledge of. Heck, some of them don't even know who Sam Cole is. You know, and it's just, it blows my mind. It's like, wow, okay, I see where we have to start. But I don't want to lose the knowledge that we've gained over all the industry's life, you know, and then have the young generation have to start all over again. We have the means to do it now, and I would like to see it through.
And I'm going to suggest, I'm just going to toss this out, just listening to these visions. You know, Teri made a very interesting point right off the bat about ppgsa standards, that they are a static, that they were a complete and closed document. And yet, I think, Michelle, this is my interpretation. Correct me if you think this is wrong, but my interpretation of your vision, and I think what we are hearing from people who are so excited about what you've proposed, is that it's a living process. It's going to be open-ended. It could continue to take on, you set up the infrastructure of how you debate these questions and how you gather the information and how you research. And once we start putting the most innovative new information out there, the new school thinking, which is always the best, knowing that could one day need to be changed as more information is discovered, this could be a living process that could stay with our industry in a dynamic way.
Yeah, think about it like it's a living scientific theory. So scientific facts are simply theories that have not been yet disproved. So if we come up, okay, this is how we're going to treat ears in the salon, and these are the different variations of that. So we might have some crazy study come out with, oh my gosh, we've been doing it all wrong and blah, blah, blah. We're going to have to revisit that. So it is a living policy changing or a policy making document or council. And it involves everyone in the industry. If you're a groomer, you're invited, because everybody should be aware of this. Everybody should know these things, or at the very least, talk about them, be able to talk about them like a scientist, like a grown-up, like an adult, and like a professional.
And for the people, your naysayers, one way to approach them, because a lot of people are very threatened by something like this, because they feel it's going to tell them how to do it. Sounds like it's just guidelines to me, but so let's just go back to the thing with ears. If we can put something in, if something in print can be put in that would prevent people from saying, my vet said my groomer caused the ear infection. Mm-hmm. If I never hear that again, I would love it. And if I never see that again in print, the vet said I caused the ear infection. Right. If there's some type of a guideline to say these are the recommendations for ear cleaning.
From within the industry. I think that's the important part. From within the industry, not from outside vets telling us what to do, or some professionals or scientists. Now, we'll take all that into consideration. But my point is to make a policy that works for every salon, as far as liability, health of the pet, procedure, all overlaid over the science of whatever we're working on.
Yeah. And then whenever there's a problem of any kind that might occur, we will have in this the documentation. What is the sourcing? Where is the research? Where did this information come from?
Right.
Who has bought into it? What institutions and what agencies are supporting it? Has this been vetted by any of the veterinarian organizations and so on?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's headed in the right direction. I think this is going to be something. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years. take years. Everybody thinks, when can we get this document? People may be retired by the time something like this comes out, because it is going to be a huge undertaking.
Yeah. But since we're arguing about these things on Facebook anyway, why not do it right? Have something happen at the end.
It is so hard. You get into these bigger cities and you have people just going back to the ears. You have so many people that come in and it's like, which vet clinic do you go to? What, you go to a vet clinic? I've never even heard of that one. Trying to call them and go, do you want us to do ears or not? And they're like, what are you talking about? I mean, I have contacted every vet on the seacoast and we have taken and they're like, what do you, why are you asking us?
Right.
Like they don't even want to deal with it. So if we can have something that says, hey, look, this is what I'm following, just like the PP. Thank you. All those letters are tumbling right now. ppgsa standards that says, and we can go, this is why. It would make it so much easier, but also as being a school, a teaching mechanism to say, this is why we're not. And though I'm sending students out into the real world and they're going to other grooming shops, if I'm not teaching them, then they get out there and go, well, but they're not, you know, it's so if we can't even get those things simple, how can you pass this knowledge on?
And I think the other thing, I mean, you are so right, Teri. I know ppgsa took years. I know this process potentially could be a permanently ongoing, you know, decades long living institution. I hope that it is. Well, we can come out one chapter at a time, one issue at a time, and amend it as any new science appears. So this is actually very much like what other industries do. Electricians, plumbers, as new technology emerges, they have to amend their standards, their national baseline of competency information that every other profession has. The law, medicine, accounting, all of the professions, they have these national organizations. They have state-based branches of them. They are constantly reevaluating new science, new technology, new information. You know, who knows what great inventions in grooming are going to change some very fundamental things that we may be addressing. That's the power of the living process here.
Yeah, we felt pretty good with the ppgsa standards to leave it alone. Leave it intact, don't change it, because it is a very basic document, but we wanted to leave that word basic out, because basic or minimum standards gives an impression of saying, okay, this is the least that we would expect from someone. Well, actually it is, but it sounds bad. It comes across bad. So we call these are the standards. And,
they are universal in their, that's why they're so brilliantly written, because there's nothing in them that's going to change. It's not a science that's going to change.
And we do actually call it a living document, because with the meeting of the 13, the Holy 13, as we jokingly refer to ourselves, we could get together and say, hey, we need to update or we need to alter this. But so far, so good. We're going to leave it alone.
So far, so great.
Yeah.
And we actually have some people in the chat room who have been joining in and saying wonderful things about. Loran is about commenting the question about how ears. This is going to be a great leap. We have so many wonderful people chiming in the chat room that are really supportive of these great questions.
There you go. How's that?
And if you think about it, if anybody is familiar with the AHA, Standards of Care for the Veterinarian Industry, think of that when you think of this council. Now, AHA does not regulate veterinarians, but they do provide a standard of care that is excellent. So if you are an AHA accredited, certified hospital, you have gone the extra step to reach that. So we're kind of attacking it at a level of an educated groomer. WPA is attacking it at a foundational level to raise the least educated of us up to the rest of the pack, because they have no chance of learning about something that's very advanced unless they have foundational information. So the AHA documents, the AHA process is kind of like, and I know Lisa Miller at AHA and have discussed with her for years about, hey, are you going to have a grooming division? And she's like, you know what? We've always talked about it, but we're not ready to do that. And year after year, she's like, we're not ready. We're not ready. We're not ready. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Just typing this up so people know what AHA stands for.
American Animal Hospital Association.
American
Animal Hospital Association.
So it's 2 A's.
Mm-hmm.
And do they do standards for large animal vets as well?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Yes, they do. It is a beautiful way to raise the standards in any salon, hospital area. You could do it in your garage. And it's a very beautiful way to document everything, document your policies, document your ingredients, document everything in 3-ring binders, your protocols for take-in, your protocols for drying, your protocols, all that is included. But we don't have to do all that work. We just have to do the pieces that haven't been addressed yet. So our work would be an addendum to what other greats have already done. So that's what I want, because there is a hole in between. There's a hole between breed standards and just safety. And there's a whole piece in between. And it is scary. Don't get me wrong. I know why we haven't done it before. Because as soon as you step out of that circle, you get stomped on. You get all the flack. You get all that. I don't really have anything to lose and everything to gain. And I just feel like now is really the time to fill in those holes that have not yet been discussed and have a complete package of care for our industry.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Cat Smart is suggesting we add nail care, ear plucking, anal glands. Yeah, I think, Cat, we're intending to address all of those. Lisa's point about AHA being voluntary is really important. It would take, in order to make, just so folks know whether they're thinking about certification or legislation that Teri has had to fight, that gave birth to the ppgsa, or any time that we've actually had to regulate something, it is going to be up to the states to do that. We would actually have to have every state legislature have a bill go through and pass that says this is going to be mandatory. And that's very hard to do. It's very hard to pass a piece of legislation through one state legislature, much less 50. So it's not likely that anytime soon this is going to be mandatory. But I do envision, I've been around just long enough, and Teri, you know it's true too, that I do envision a time when very soon, when grooming is more and more going to be getting that kind of regulatory attention by not only state legislatures, but by counties and by cities, and by townships or whatever smaller units of government. You actually, it's already happening because of the increasing importance of pet ownership. It's become a huge segment of our economy. Ever since post 9/11, something like 40% more pet owners in the United States. That's why grooming is in a shortage. It's not that there's less groomers, there's actually more groomers, but the rate of people who are becoming groomers is not growing as fast as the rate of people who are buying pets. And pets are also living longer. And they're living double their normal lifespan. And they're this is just in the 40 years since I've been a master groomer. I have seen the pet lifespan double on average from 7 to 14 years of age. That means half of the life of these pets is going to be grooming a geriatric animal, which requires extraordinary more attention to care. So all of these issues are huge. And the grooming industry is going to evolve. It's going to have to. And so thank you, Michelle, and Teri, for keeping us on the cutting edge of that.
Well, what's going to happen is documents like this and documents like the ppgsa standards are going to become a backbone for all a customer wants is accountability. Okay. They want accountability, and that is basically what legislature is, whether you want to call it a registration or a licensing or a certification, because each state is going to have to do it differently. So it's not going to happen until we're done with this COVID epidemic. It's just not going to. I'm working with the city of Beverly Hills right now and on a city ordinance, and they just keep pushing it out, but I'm staying on it. Don't surprise me and have a hearing tomorrow night, okay? But pushing forward, think of this document that you have a vision for as giving the customers a source of responsibility, of accountability. Were the ears cleaned properly according to the recommended standards?
Right.
Were the nails trimmed properly according to industry recommendations?
Yes, that is the deal right there.
This is really what it's going to come down to, and where they may not actually become a legislation if you can get your state associations to work together and say, these are our recommended standards of care, safety, sanitation, and good practices and policies.
Right. Okay. And the more we agree on this structure and on the pieces that are within the structure, the better it will be for everyone. Then there won't be guessing. There won't be, oh, well, what am I supposed to do now? Or I've never seen this before. Now there's a document that you can go to, or a council that you can go to and submit an issue. It will be better if we learn how to talk to each other better.
It will, absolutely. And you're still going to get people that are going to want to do it their way. But if it is a standard practice in the industry to do it one way and they're out in left field, that's an accountability that could get them in trouble and perhaps make them just clean up their act a bit.
And there is precedent for this in other professions, like plumbers, for example. They may not have to meet minimum standards. They could be non-union, they could be non-compliant with state recommended or federal recommended guidelines in their industry. Maybe they're using substandard equipment or tools. And if people want to pay less and fly under the radar like that, they can. But that does, exactly as you say, Teri, give the customer an accountability to say, did you meet these minimum recommended standards?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to add also that while I was talking to Chris Berry, there is a large portion of marketing that is going to happen that will notify the actual client instead. It's going to educate the client in such a way that they will go to their salon and ask, do you follow these standards? Do you have this in your salon? So the clients themselves will seek out someone who has that accreditation, rather than, oh, I thought all salons did that, or I thought all groomers were alike.
Excellent.
A lot of clients don't know the difference between somebody who's grooming and someone who's a certified master groomer.
Right.
That is a very different thing. And they don't know the difference, and they should know the difference.
Excellent.
Yeah, client education is a top priority with the California group, and you're beating your head against the wall because people really have no idea what we do. They have no idea how we do it, and this is one of the things we just got to educate the client. Take the time. And it kind of irks me when I hear somebody on Facebook say, oh, this customer wanted to know where I learned and what I did. And I said, take that moment in time to shine. That's your brag moment right there. Yes, I've been grooming for this long. I learned here. I've done this. I've done that. What else do you want to know about me? That's it.
We talk about that on this show all the time.
Nothing wrong with that.
Little bit of anything, any certificate you get from anything, put that on the wall and show it proudly and point it out. The thing we've been doing, pulling out that huge ISCC training manual. Wow. Yep, this is what we learned. And they go,
yeah, that makes a huge
improvement. What do you mean you learned this?
That's a small piece of what we learned.
Right? That's a small piece.
And we really have to make it simple enough for new groomers who are coming out. How many times do we hear a new groomer say, oh, I didn't learn anything in school. We learned the basics.
And that's why Dara's school is so exemplary, because Dara, of course, with the whole pet school network, she is really putting it out there what a school can be and do. But the exciting thing is that this is actually going to give everybody an opportunity to chime in, to be part of a process, and to really see the inside nuts and bolts about how you make policy decisions. How do you make a recommendation when you have a conflicting practice and conflicting information, and veterinarians that disagree even on things.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's very, very interesting and important and exciting. And client education, I'm really, really happy to hear WPA is committed to doing that, because they are in charge of sort of the pet retail world. They're the ones that are going to be incredibly able to do mass communication to the pet owning public. So that's really exciting.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're at 40 minutes. You have a hot date with your hubby.
It's my wedding anniversary. So I'm actually
you go to dinner.
Anniversary.
I have Monday coming up at 7:00 my time too.
You've got you've got your show coming up, and
Wind Down Mondays.
Yeah, Wind Down Monday.
Wind Down Mondays.
Just getting ready with a glass of water. I just finished grooming, so hey,
Well, thank you so much for coming to visit us, Teri. I hope this isn't the last visit. I hope we do this again, and we're at a much more advanced stage of this. I'm looking forward to the future. I'm so excited about this.
Okay, good luck to everyone. Absolutely.
Thank you, Teri. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Dara.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody. Go to the pet.
All right. You get off. I'm going to do our sign off. So you go on your dates.
I will. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Stay on with me for 2 minutes after that. I want to see what platform this is you're using.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. So, well, thank you, everyone who joined us this evening. We had quite a lot of viewers, some great comments. Thank you guys for all joining us. Remember, we are the Pet Pro Educators, and this is the Groomers Cut. We will see you next time, and watch for upcoming shows. What do we have coming up? We've got Groom Expo is going to be online, so be sure to watch for theirs. Pam Lorenz has something going on with the ISCC that she's doing an online continuing education. I think she's got a 3-day workshop that she's doing, and there are so many other things. Precision Sharp is doing days with. We've had to put out, we've put mine out, so mine will be at the end of September now, and I'll be doing a full business certification day the last week of September. I believe it's the 27th. So we'll get more on that for anybody. And, I was just on, and I did 2 classes for the All-American. Everybody, what's OSHA? What do you mean OSHA? Who's OSHA? They're all asking for OSHA stuff. So I'm going to be posting. I just started my brand new Facebook page, which is my professional page, just under Dara Forleo. Sorry, guys, I'm kicking all non-real friends off my Facebook page. So go to that one, and I will be posting the OSHA class there. And that is a certificate class from the state of New Hampshire. It is approved by the state. And I've got 22 business workshops that are state approved. So anything coming up for you, Michelle? We've got our master pet esthetician courses. They are online and ready to go. So guys, have a great week. We appreciate you joining us and look forward to talking to you soon. We'll come up with the topic for next week. I'm sure Michelle will come up with something. We're all kind of here and there, but we will come up with something for some. We'll go take it down a couple notches and have some fun next week.
Yeah.
Join us for Wind Down Monday, 7:00 California time. We're going to be finishing. It's been like a 3-part. We're going to talk about competition grooming and what happens in the ring once you're done with your dog, and what are those judges looking for. So,
ooh, that's fun. See?
And California Groomers Association, we're going to be announcing tonight, so I'll do a spoiler alert right now. November 15th, we're going to have another California Dream and Full Day seminars. So that's down.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, is it's strictly for California?
No. Membership in the association is just California. But our Facebook group, you can join the Facebook group as long as, please fill out the questions. Are you a groomer? One of those things. Please fill them on out. You can come on in there, and I go on at 10 o'clock with the 10 o'clock East Coast, 10 o'clock our time. We do a little legislative update. We do a little seminar. We do a wine review. Okay, so we all gotta learn how to pair your right wine with the right food. So
I love it. I'm joining in on that right after this show then, because
we have a lot of fun.
Wine.
Okay, everybody.
All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next week. I'm gonna end this.
Thank you.
All right.
And we're done.